Rink, Wide, Vancouver, pregame, postgame, every game presented by Bodog. From sports odds to free casino games, make a play at Bodog.net. Wadden and JPat here with you with another edition of the pregame show as the Canucks head to Cowtown to face off against the Flames, looking to bounce back from that 3-0 loss on Saturday, and it's the first of 4 against the Flames this year.
Yeah, a little bit of a scheduling quirk to get to game 29 and have not seen this divisional rival, maybe your chief rival in the National Hockey League, but they're going to be back in Calgary on New Year's Eve. The weird thing is the Flames aren't in Vancouver until the final night of March, and then they're back a week later for the Canucks home finale. So they'll see Calgary down the road. They haven't seen them yet, but this is the proverbial 4-pointer. There is 4 points separating the Canucks and the Calgary Flames in the standings. Calgary wins in regulation. They pull 6 in front of the Canucks. If the Canucks are able to win in regulation, they can creep within 2 of the Flames and have a game in hand. So the stakes are high here for the Canucks as they try to claw their way back towards that playoff bar in the Western Conference.
Let's get to the lineup change now, presented by Delaney's OK Tire out there on Fraser Highway in Langley. Yesterday, we saw some different lines at practice, some different pairings, JPat, but it looks like going to have another change on the top line.
Yeah, this one's a bit of a head scratcher to me. Curtis Lazar shows up, plays hard, but he has a goal and an assist in the 18 games that he has played, and he's getting a promotion to play on the right side with Bo Horvat and JT Miller. Yesterday at practice, it was Jack Studnicka. Maybe it wasn't a very good practice. Who knows? But it looks like Curtis Lazar, based on the morning skate at the Saddle Dome, is going to get that opportunity. Studnicka will stay in the lineup. He'll be on the fourth line, and Sheldon Dries comes back in, slots in at center on the third line between Brock Besser and Connor Garland, a couple of guys that are still struggling as they have for much of the season. We'll see if Sheldon Dries can jumpstart that line, and of course that leaves Elias Pettersson between the two Russians, Kuzmenko on one side and Ilya Mikheyev on the other.
If you're going to bet on the first goal scorer in this game, you might want to do it with a Calgary player. The Canucks have given up the first goal in 6 straight games.
Yeah, and they didn't score at all. Obviously, Minnesota got the first, the second, and the third goal the other night. We heard Bruce Boudreau say afterwards he wasn't even going to pull the goaltender because he just didn't think his team was going to score. It's a tough league to play comeback hockey, and we do see comebacks happening, but still, the statistics are in your favor if you can get the lead. Now, this is the first game back home after an Eastern road trip for the Calgary Flames. They're not scoring a ton of goals, so if the Canucks could get the jump on them, force Calgary perhaps to adjust, apply a little bit of pressure there. Just after 6 straight giving up the first goal, it would be nice to see the Canucks get one on the scoreboard ahead of their opponents for a change.
The Calgary Flames last year had a few guys reach the 100-point mark. That this year, the Canucks have 5 guys that have more points than the Flames' top scorer.
Yeah, Elias Lindholm is their top scorer. He didn't play in their last game, but he's going to be back in. He took the morning skate this morning. He's got 23 points. You're right. There are 5 separate Canucks that already have 25 or more. And so that tells you that the Canucks have a few more game breakers than the Calgary Flames. Calgary doesn't have Johnny Gaudreau anymore, doesn't have Matthew Tkachuk. It's been a bit of a slow start for Jonathan Huberdeau. Nazem Kadri's been a nice addition and certainly has been productive. And as we said, Elias Lindholm leads their team in scoring, but there's been a lot of games so far this year where the Flames haven't been able to generate enough. That hasn't been an issue for the Vancouver Canucks. So after getting shut out the other night, hopefully some of those game breakers take that to heart and raise their level of performance, find a way to contribute on the score sheet, because those are the difference makers. Usually when the Canucks come out on top, it's that one of those top-end guys has found a way to leave his footprints or fingerprints all over the score sheet.
Now, it's been a tough year for Vancouver. However, they've been good against Pacific Division opponents.
And this is kind of quietly one of the reasons that they have been able to hang around despite that 0-for-7 start, is that so many of the early games were against Eastern opponents. The Canucks have not fared very well against teams from the other conference, but within their own conference, and particularly in their own division. Remember, they lost in Edmonton on opening night. Since then, the Canucks have won 6 of their 7 games against Pacific Division opponents. We already said they've got all 4 of their season series games with the Flames remaining, including this one tonight. So, that's a lot of points that are right there for the taking. If you can grab them and you leave Calgary without, that's going to be a way to make up ground on the Flames, one of the teams that is ahead of the Vancouver Canucks in the standings. So, the Canucks have gone 6-2 within the Pacific Division. We'll see if they can get a 7th win at the Dome tonight.
All right, the Flames had a shootout loss in Montreal, an OT loss in Toronto. However, they've been pretty good over their last 6.
Yeah, picking up points there at the tail end of the road trip. They started their quick 3-game Eastern trip with a regulation loss in Columbus, and I know that didn't go over particularly well with Daryl Sutter or the Flames fans. That was the first matchup with Johnny Hockey since he bolted Cowtown as an unrestricted free agent. But they are 3-1-2 in their last 6 games. So points in 5 of the 6 and just the one regulation loss. And part of that is they're starting to get some goaltending again. Remember when Jacob Markstrom said he just wasn't very good at hockey not that long ago? He was terrific the other night in the shootout loss in Montreal, stopped 7 shots in overtime. The Flames were shorthanded for 4 minutes, basically in the shooting gallery there, and Jacob Markstrom came up big, and based on that performance, he's getting the nod here tonight. And so he may say that he hasn't been very good at hockey lately. The numbers would argue and tell a different story. In his last 5 starts, Jacob Markstrom running with a 2.01 goals against average and a .925 save percentage. Canucks are well aware of what Jacob Markstrom is capable of when he's at the top of his game.
This will be game 30 for Calgary this year. And surprise, surprise, they're still below the playoff bar.
Yeah, you look around the NHL, I think you put New Jersey in the surprise category, probably Seattle, although the Kraken's starting to leak just a little bit. Those are the good news surprise stories. I think you would consider the Flames under the playoff bar at the 30-game mark, and this is their 30th game. Yeah, a disappointment, certainly. This was a team that had designs on winning the Stanley Cup last year. Those got derailed in the Battle of Alberta, and then they had the season of change, and I mentioned Huberdeau earlier, Mackenzie Weegar, who didn't play the other night in Montreal, but he's going to get back in their lineup on defense as well. You know, they brought in some new faces with some nice pedigree, but sometimes it's about the right fit, and I think it's taken a while for Huberdeau to sort of find his footing there. I don't think this Calgary team is as dynamic with the losses of both Gaudreau and Tkachuk, and that's sort of borne out when you look at the goal scoring. The Canucks have basically scored 11, well, they have scored 11 more goals here in the season already than the Calgary Flames have. So Canucks a little more potent offensively. Flames are going to try to lock it down, grind you down. That's the way Daryl Sutter's teams play, and that's how they have success. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, it's just, again, to see the Calgary Flames below the playoff bar, I don't think they're going to wind up there at the end of the season. But right here, right now, I would say that they're one of the disappointments in the first third of this National Hockey League schedule.
Let's look at their lineup a little bit. It'll be the first time we get to see Nazem Kadri and Jonathan Huberdeau in Flames colors, but also some injury concern. Looks like Chris Tanev's not going to go tonight for the Flames.
Yeah, and that's a shame. I mean, this guy is a warrior. Canuck fans certainly know that. Took the puck off the side of the head, the Nick Suzuki shot in Montreal in the second period, left the game, didn't come back. There was some real concern. He's had some scans done. Apparently everything looks all right, and hopefully it shouldn't be too long before he gets back in, but he will not play out of an abundance of caution, and you can understand after taking a puck to the side of the head. But we did mention that they get Elias Lindholm back. He's their leading scorer. Mackenzie Weegar back on defense. With Tanev down the other night and Weegar out of the lineup, Rasmus Anderson logged 31 and a half minutes in that hockey game, and he's really coming into his own, one of the top 4 defensemen, certainly on that Calgary team. As for Nazem Kadri, been a nice pickup for the Calgary Flames. Leads the team in goals with 11, heart and soul guy, plays with grit, sometimes crosses the line a little bit, but that's what has made him effective throughout his career. And so he's doing Nazem Kadri things now, just in red and yellow and white. As for Huberdeau, as I said, it's been a bit of a struggle. This guy had 115 points last year, 85 of them assists. I mean, one of the truly elite setup guys in the National Hockey League. Just 5 goals and 13 helpers, though, 18 points so far. So they're expecting more. He agreed to the big new contract. So with that comes some pressure. I think he's underperformed to this point, but he can be dangerous on any given night. And as we said, this will be the first time the Canucks have seen him since he came over from Florida.
And the Flames are dangerous on home ice, having won 6 of their last 7. They really rack up the wins at the Saddledome. Yeah,
and the one loss in there, they absolutely skated circles around the Montreal Canadiens. I think they had 46 shots on goal, but they could only score once that night. So even then, they held their opponent in check, but they didn't score enough, and that's been a bit of a theme for the Flames here. But yeah, they've won 6 of their last 7 at the Saddledome, and with 13 wins on the season, 10 of them have come on home ice. So when they have had success, when they have played well, when they've picked up victories, for the most part, it's come in front of their home fans. Out on the road, that's a different story. Just 3 wins in 13 games.
Lastly, with the Flames, Blasty is going to make an appearance here as they're going to wear those sweet reverse retros.
Honestly, did you know that the fire-breathing horse was named Blasty?
No, I did not. You had it in our notes, and that's how I do know his name. But I have to admit, I do like the jersey, though.
Yeah, so reverse retro for the Flames. It won't be for the Canucks because their base is black, and the Canucks, with Johnny Canuck, that's base navy blue. So they were able to wear it on the road in San Jose last week when they picked up their last win, their most recent victory. But they'll be going with the conventional road whites to counterbalance the black that Blasty and the Flames, they'll be showing up at the Saddle Dome in tonight. So yeah, it's reverse retro for one of the teams, but it's the home team. It won't be the Roadsters tonight.
Okay, let's take a look at my Bodog Best Bet. And listen, if you want to fade me right now, I don't say that you shouldn't, put it that way, because I have not been hitting lately. 5 in a row I've missed on JPat.
Ooh.
Feeling pretty good about this one tonight, though. Hear me out. I've got Elias Pettersson and Jonathan Huberdeau, both over 0.5 assists at plus 275. So a whole lot of value there. Both guys love to be the setup man, and both guys are starting to rack up the points as of recent. I know that Huberdeau has been down from last year, but I like both of them to get an assist tonight at plus 275. Some really good value there for Pettersson and Huberdeau.
Yeah, I don't mind that pick on your part. And let's be honest, you do need to turn this thing back in the right direction here ASAP. So you're right. A couple of guys that come into this game with some pedigree when it comes to dishing the puck and getting it to guys in scoring areas. I'm not expecting a high-scoring game, but still, if there are goals to be had, wouldn't surprise me if Pettersson and Huberdeau were in on the action.
We got some Bodog Bucks to give away. This is carrying over from Saturday. We did not get a winner on Saturday, so we're going to carry it over to tonight. Here's what you gotta do. Head to @RinkWide Podcast on Twitter. Look for the post. Guess the time and the period. This is why we didn't get a winner last time. We got lots of times, but we didn't get anybody that said the first period. So send that in of the game-winning goal. The closest guess will win the $50 in Bodog Bucks. Good luck to you. And boy, you can make that go a long way if you can hit on your winners like I was early on in the season, though a little ice cold right now. All right, JPat, you don't want this person to be ice cold in this game. You want somebody to be red hot. Who tonight is going to do something in this game?
You know, it's funny because he has been red hot all season, leads the Canucks with his 20 goals, but after the last 48 hours for Bo Horvat, and he's talked about the fact that, you know, he's tried hard not to make the trade talk in his contract and everything else a distraction, and he's done a nice job of that, and the proof is the 20 goals he's got. But this is the first time that he's had to step on the ice since handling all that, the statement that was put out. And you do wonder, can he continue to put that out of his mind, or at some point does that creep back in during the game and serve as a distraction? The other part is, well, he still leads the team in goals. His pace has dropped off a little bit. He has goals in 2 of the last 7 games. Now, in one of those games, he scored twice. That was Arizona, including the overtime game winner. His last goal came against the Montreal Canadiens in that wild 7-6 overtime victory for the hockey club. So his production is slowing a little bit, as some of us thought it might, but on any given night, we know that Bo can pull the trigger for this hockey club. So again, just with all the noise that's been around him, we'll see if that impacts him in any way. He's been in a lot of these Canuck Calgary matchups over the years. Go back to his rookie season. Got a taste of playoff hockey, in fact, in that first year in the playoff matchup against the Flames as well. So some history personally in between these two teams. I think Bo Horvat's going to be up for the battle here tonight, and we'll see if he can do something to help the Vancouver Canucks come out on top against their division rivals.
A reminder, we still have our Wired Snowboard contest going. Here is today's code word, and you can win a 2023 Wired Recon Series snowboard, a value of $579.99. Send that in to 778-402-9680, and that'll get you into a draw to win the snowboard. Check them out at wiredsnowboards.com. All right, let's see if the Canucks can get back on the saddle, as they say, in Calgary, JPat, as they look to rebound from that loss to the Wild and pick up 2 points, a crucial 2 points in Calgary against the Flames. This has been another edition of the Rink Wide Vancouver podcast presented by Bodog. For Jeff Patterson, I'm Andrew Wadden. Remember, Rink Wide is the show that always scores.